Welcome back. 2 more migrant buses carrying nearly 60 migrants per bus have arrived in D.C. overnight. Those buses came from Del Rio and Eagle Pass, this area in Texas, as mayors of big blue cities are now saying that they are being overwhelmed by the influx of migrants. This follows Texas Governor Greg Abbott inviting New York City Mayor Eric Adams and Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser to the southern border. He's inviting them to get a first-hand look at the dire situation unfolding here. Joining me right now is Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. And AG, it's great to see you. Thanks very much.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thanks for coming to the border.
Absolutely. I've been here now 5 times, and every time I've been here, it has been truly an education. Let me talk to you first about these mayors. They say, we're getting overwhelmed. Eric Adams says this is going to impact our healthcare industry. This is going to impact education costs. They're not calling President Biden about it, though.
Yeah, no, I agree with them. It is going to affect them. What's amazing, it's almost laughable, because if you think about the numbers of people that they're dealing with, several thousand, I think 4,000 in D.C., we deal with that almost every day here. And no one seems to be willing to help us or talk about our situation, which is, what, 100 times worse at least?
Well, the administration now says that it's going to close some of the gaps in Arizona in the border wall near Yuma. On the 2020 campaign trail, Biden said that his administration would not construct another foot of the border wall. But we spoke with Brandon Judd earlier, and he said, look, closing the gap's not going to do much. What do you think about this plan to close some of the gaps? Yeah,
so to me, it's like taking a glass of water and dumping it into the ocean. Yeah, you're putting water into the ocean, but is that going to affect the ocean? No. That's what this is. This is form over substance. And the reality is it'll have no impact on the numbers, no impact on really addressing the situation. If they would do things like Trump did to really address the situation, I would applaud them. I would give them credit for doing it. This is not a real effort to make a difference in the border crisis.
Well, the crisis has gotten worse. What can you tell us in terms of being in Texas on the ground? I know you're back and forth, coming here a lot. What can you tell us in terms of how things have changed in the last year and a half?
You know, I think it's become more personal to me because as we've seen the fentanyl increase in our state, I know more kids that are dying from fentanyl overdoses. They have no idea that they're even taking fentanyl. So it's having a dramatic impact on the lives of people in Texas. And I, of course, get to talk to ranchers like you've done in the past. And it's devastating them. They have fires on their property. They have damaged property. They don't feel safe there. That's not the way this country should operate.
You've been fighting this. You've sued the administration more than 30 times, 31 lawsuits, and voters are taking notice. You won your primary. Congratulations to you. What are the plans now? And what kind of success rate have you had?
So we've sued the Biden administration 31 times. We have over a 90% success rate, and that's not just because we're good at what we're doing. We are good at it. The reality is we're right in the law, and the Biden administration flaunts the law. They don't care what the law says. They don't care what their constitutional role is, and so instead of following federal laws that relates to immigration or anything else, they just make up their own rules and say, sue us.
So what can you do going forward? Because even if the Republicans gain the edge in November, President Biden will just use the executive order. He'll use his pen to do what he wants.
Well, we'll continue to sue him. The problem with our strategy is it takes more time than just, it's not immediate. And so it takes time to win these cases because they typically appeal them. Even if we win at district court, we end up at the Fifth Circuit or some other circuit, and then we end up for the U.S. Supreme Court. It just takes several years to win those battles in the end, and that's what we'll have to continue to do.
So this most recent suit was about school lunches. Tell us what you were fighting for, because this is just an extraordinary story in my view.
So the Biden administration has decided through the FDA that they are going to force schools to adopt sexual orientation and gender identity rules and procedures. The reality is, that's not what's in federal law. And for them to require schools to do that in order to get food for their kids, to me, is unconscionable. We're using food as a weapon, a food that's supposed to go to kids that are poor.
They said if the schools that don't implement these new gender rules will not get school lunches.
That's what they've said, and that's not what the law says. This is
unbelievable.
I know. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's really happening, but it's hard to believe that our federal government would use food as a weapon against children. You
are the leading law official in the state of Texas. I want to get your take on crime. And do you connect the dots to the wide open border for spikes in crime?
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, I think it's obvious to anybody that understands what's going on at the border that there are criminals coming across the border, a high number of them, and they are going to have an impact on crime in Texas. they're going to have an impact on crime all over the country. And Washington, D.C. is going to feel it, even with just 4,000 new people, and New York's going to feel it. So, as we've said in the past, and you've heard me say it, every state now is a border state, and they're all going to feel the connection between illegal immigration, and it's only going to get worse because the Biden administration is encouraging the cartels to basically operate this way.
Well, they are in charge. The cartels are in charge, taking home $200 million a week. It's absolutely extraordinary. AG, thanks for your leadership.
Hey, thank you.
Good to see you.
Great. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for being at the border.
Thank you so much.